yes. Today's been a weird day. I mean, an exciting day, but a weird day nonetheless. We just announced the end of Thoughts May Vary. A lot of mixed emotions, although Meadow and I have obviously been discussing this for months and months and months. It's very surreal. The public episode went live, so officially TMV has come to an end, but maybe not, who knows. Definitely for the foreseeable future. Meadow and I always joke that we'll do like a Gilmore Girls year in the life in like 5 years. Who knows, maybe that will happen. I will definitely speak on that more later today. It's very bittersweet. I've cried, we've laughed, you know, we've done the whole thing. I cried on the fucking internet. So lots of feelings and emotions, but right now I want to get out of the house. Okay, I'm gonna sit down because my back hurts. I don't feel like an old lady. But right now, I just kind of want to give myself the space to get out of the house. I'm gonna go to the west side, see the water. I'm gonna see some of my family. We're just gonna have lunch. Meadow and I already did like our commemorative dinner last week. She came to LA and we had dinner. We baked cookies. We had a whole day together and we just cheersed to an exciting new chapter and the end of something really, 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 really beautiful. We watched Inside Out. We cried some more. It was awesome. Anyway, yeah, big feelings, buddy, today. I'm just so grateful for the platform that is TMV and the community and you guys, anyone who found me through the podcast. Thank you for sticking around if you choose to stick around. And I'm just like, words cannot even begin to express how truly thankful and grateful I am for the privilege of everything that was Thoughts May Vary. I wanted to show you my outfit though, because I'm feeling fall. It's finally cooled down in LA. Fingers crossed it actually stays like this for the rest of the week. Now I see some of the clouds like moving, which this morning it was dark and gloomy and gray, which like honestly perfection for the vibes that I was feeling this morning. Let me show you the ootd because we're feeling cute and we're wearing finally something other than a t-shirt, jeans, and a blazer. I have on my new sweater from Gap. I'm really excited about this. It's the boyfriend sweater for tall people because I'm not tall, but it still works. I love the collar on this. Everything will be linked in my like to know it. For the bottoms, I have these Zara pinstripe brown dress pants. Is that what these are called? Love these. I wore these in the new headshots that I took and I've been wearing that brown blazer nonstop. These are the matching pants. Love them. And then I just have, ooh, my socks. And then I just have on these Reeboks that are just white with brown detail. That's one thing I will say I really need is like good fall sneakers or just like new sneakers in general. I've been scouring the internet for a bunch of like brown and like orangey shade sneakers and I've definitely found a couple of really cool ones, but we will get there. We're not gonna buy an entire new wardrobe in a day. And then I haven't been wearing necklaces lately, which is very, very unlike me. Let me put you down somewhere else so we could actually talk through this. I'm a necklace bitch for fucking sure. And so finally I put the stack back on today and here is what we're working with. So I have this little stack right here. I got the chain from 14 Karat here in LA, just a wholesale jewelry retailer. And then these two charms are from when I was a baby. And then, oh, all three of these actually are from when I was a baby. The cross, the teddy bear, and the locket. The locket's actually my sister's that I am temporarily borrowing. And then I bought this myself. This is from Yeah It's Jewelry. She makes, or she finds the most beautiful vintage charms. Just my little Italian horn, good luck pendant right there. I love my little stack. And then I obviously have my A, which is for my boyfriend that he bought for me. Everyone always asks me where the A is from because he did such a good job with this gift. Honestly, like if you go to any swap meet or like any jewelry district and you just get like a chain like this, you'll find something very similar. The charm I'm just obsessed with the little diamond right there. And then the most recent addition to the stack I'm really, really, really excited about. So this weekend I went to a mercado for, it was Rizos Curls and Youth to the People did a little mercado this weekend for Hispanic Heritage Month and they brought a bunch of Latina merchants and designers and makers and it was so fun and so cool. The brand is called Everywhere Jewels. We're back on our bullshit with the necklace stack. And then for rings, I have on always my Lips by Solange. It's always on one of the hands. And then of course my pinky ring that I always have on as well, my Aura ring, and then this ring that my sister got me for Christmas. It's from a boutique in South Miami called Splash. And then my hoops from Studs. I need new hoops because these are hella discolored. No shade to Studs because I love my earrings from there. I just have worn these to oblivion. I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna get the fuck out of the house. We're back. I won't lie, I haven't filmed in like 2 weeks because I've had a fucking sty on my eye that I still have, and you can probably see it. I put on makeup today, which is probably a terrible idea, but I had a meeting this morning that I had to. Honestly, it's gotten slightly better, but well, no, it's gotten much better. I just fear that it has now moved to the time where it's just like a hard little bolita on my eye and it's like not draining anymore. Sorry, this is disgusting to talk about. I used to get styes all the time when I was a kid, and they just make you feel so gross and unsanitary because like they're just like nasty to look at. It's not like I'm a 28-year-old woman with like grubby little hands who doesn't fucking shower and wash her face and wash her hands. Like, it's just not the case. I just have sensy eyes. It's not the reason I turned on the camera. I turned on the camera just because I was like, let's actually talk about what happened with the podcast. Hopefully by now you've listened to the podcast episode, and if you haven't and you're just a YouTube person or you're new here, hi, I used to have a podcast for almost 3 years called Thoughts May Vary. It's a mental health and personal development podcast that I filmed with my best friend Meadow, and 10 of our lives, and we ended it this year. We ended it last month, and I'll tell you why. Let me just take it back. So we signed with a network in the new year. That was like one of our major goals for 2024 and for TMV, was to be able to be with a network and like do that experience. And I'm really happy that we did. I think it illuminated a lot for both Meadow and I in terms of like what it was that we wanted for production value, what it was that we wanted in terms of having a team, like all of that stuff made things like a lot clearer. And it became pretty clear pretty quick that the best path forward for us was for us not to be with a network and for us to go back being independent. So that's what we did. We decided to be independent again. And with that shift to being back independent, we decided let's just take like a month-long hiatus. And this was over the summer. And we were like, let's just not post episodes. We haven't done that in like a year, that we've taken, you know, like a proper actual like hiatus and time off to really reflect on what we want the next steps and the next chapter of the podcast to be and to look like and to feel like, and to get really clear on what our individual goals are and our collective goals for the podcast. During that time, we were having a lot of conversations where it was just becoming really clear that something had to change. We were both feeling honestly burnt out in terms of the conversations and the content that we were putting out there. I think the ethos and the premise of the show has always been to share what we're learning in real time in an effort to just humanize the process of growth and to form community in that way, and to form this like safe, fun place on the internet where we can talk to one another about our personal development and share our mental health stories. But it's not like a trauma bonding space. It's more of just like I see you as a human, you see me as a human. We're all sort of going through these like very similar collective experiences through our own individualistic lenses, and there's real beauty in being able to see yourself reflected in the stories of one another and to just not feel less alone. Like, that was the point of why we created the show. I think we were able to successfully do that throughout the 2.5, 3 years that we had the show running. But it was honestly getting to a point where it just felt like we were just prying to like have something to say, especially because if you talk about it from like the numbers perspective, Meadow and I got to a point where we had to hire people to help with it. Like, we were paying an editor. There was a moment in time that we were paying to have a project manager when we were working with the network. Like, that was payments that were going out as well. And so obviously like we needed to see like good enough ROI so that we would continue to be like, this is a smart investment for us moving forward. So from the financial perspective, like, we had to look at the downloads and we had to look at the numbers, and the episodes that were performing the best were our solo episodes, which there's a huge upside to that, which is, you know, people are there primarily for us. People are primarily there for our dynamic, our friendship, our conversations, rather than only tuning in and popping in for like a huge guest that they want to see and then like dipping because they don't give a shit about Meadow or I. The downside to it was that we had to rely on our conversations and us unpacking things consistently to keep up with the weekly cadence of episodes. It just kind of got to the point that like her and I were calling each other being like, what the fuck are we going to talk about today? Like, what are you unpacking? What are you unpacking? I don't know. I guess I can talk about this. And it just felt like rehashing for the sake of rehashing, and it started to feel really draining. Like, it was like hablando mierda, like para hablar, like to hear yourself talk, you know? It didn't seem like fruitful anymore, at least for her and I. And that just felt like a really big disservice to the community and a disservice to the show. So that was like a really big factor in this, was we knew that something had to shift because we were just feeling really burnt out. Then we presented the conversation of like, okay, do we put this behind a paywall? Like, do we just, you know, we have a great community on Patreon. Do we just kind of like put everything there and be able to like scale back on, you know, not paying anybody in terms of an editor, and like we're taking on more work. So now we're saving money, but it's a bigger time commitment. But that also felt weird because Meadow's working on something that she's really pumped about. I'm working on stuff that I'm really pumped about. And it was just like, the time commitment and pouring more into TMV in terms of our time was also not something that felt super aligned for us right now. But But then the alternative is pouring more into it financially and paying other people to do stuff. But that also didn't feel right now, because again, like it started to become clearer and clearer and clearer, at least from my perspective, that I was using the podcast a little bit as a crutch, because it was a really easy excuse to not do the shit that I actually wanted to do in my career. I was ready for something different. And also, side note, like, was not fun for me. I know that's like a selfish thing to say in terms of when you're talking about like building community and how that's like the forefront, but at the end of the day, like, I am not lit up by something. It is really draining for me. I don't mean that in the sense of like I don't do the things that I have to do because they're not fun. Like, not everything that you do in life is going to be fun, and so that's not where that's coming from. It's just more in the sense of like I knew intuitively that it was time to move on, and that the next step was what needed to happen. So while I'm having this internal turmoil, Meadow is also apparently having the same thing, but we're just like not communicating it to one another, because I think both of us value the integrity of the show so much and value the integrity of our friendship so much that we didn't want to like let the other person down and be the one to be like, hey, I'm actually thinking that like this isn't working for me anymore, and like I think it's time to evolve. And she really was the brave one in terms of like broaching that conversation with me and being like, let's talk about it. How are we feeling? Because this is how I'm feeling. How are you feeling? Like, we were both kind of like walking on eggshells around it until like we were just kind of like, do we want to end it? Not no. And so we go into details of that on the podcast episode. But after we ended up essentially coming to the conclusion of, okay, there's been so much resistance in us even trying to find like what the next iteration of this is. I think the solution is like, let's just like cut our losses and end this shit with integrity. Once we made that decision, it was just this like giant weight was lifted off of our shoulders, and we both just felt so liberated. I remember like I looked at her and I was like, how do you feel? And she was like, I feel free. Like, I just feel free. And that's exactly how I felt too. Obviously so fucking bittersweet, because, and I'm not gonna cry on this because I fucking already cried on the internet on that last episode and just not doing it again. But I said like this was the space on the internet that like I wish I had growing up, and this was the space in the conversations that I wish that I could see myself reflected in my most difficult times where I felt so unbelievably alone. And I'm just so, how many times can I say I'm just so, but I am just so honored that people saw value in it and joined the community and participated in conversations and discussions and were able to like meet one another and find friendships. Like, I just can't believe that happened. Just like the knowing that like you guys have been able to meet one another through the podcast and have developed friendships and found community, like that was the fucking point. That was the fucking point, and we did it. And at the end of the day, like, shit's not meant to last forever. It was time for us to have a little metamorphosis. I look at it with such high regard and love and admiration and gratitude, and I'm just so thankful that I could do that. And I'm also just so thankful that I was able to do that with Meadow, and that like honestly, like, first and foremost, the fact that like our friendship is fucking intact, because I have seen people get into business with their friends and like it's not easy. We're two different personalities that are mixing literally business with pleasure, and the fact that our friendship was able to evolve so beautifully and come out on the other side even stronger is amazing. And I'm just so grateful that we've been able to do that with such integrity and end something with such reverence and integrity, and instead of just like driving something into the ground because neither one of us want to let go. I'm so good on that, and if you ever catch me doing that, be like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? The tea is there is no tea, and that is the story of the end of Thoughts Made Harry. Your bitch is moving in silence right now, and that's really because I am just so excited for what's to come, and I'm so excited to be able to show you guys what I've been working on, and it's coming sooner than later. I'm in my little bubble with it right now, and it's making me feel really protective over it and good, and I want to move with intention in this next chapter. And so I'm just really excited to be able to share that with you guys, and then once that is in the public, then we can share more of the BTS, because you know that even though I've been moving quietly, I've been gathering that fucking BTS footage for you guys to be able to show the making of something, because we love the process of building. That's what this YouTube channel is about sharing the process. Fear not, that footage exists. Really excited for what's to come. Thank you guys so much for being here in this space and in this community. If you're new here, like, what a fucking weird video for your intro to the channel, but hi, welcome. Love to have you here. And yeah, hopefully this fucking sty goes away so I can keep filming content and not feel like a fucking ogre. Like, if you've seen all my TikToks lately with like my sunglasses, it's because I'm like, hey madre, like, I want to keep filming content, I want to keep talking shit, but I have a fucking nasty ass thing on my eye, so let's just put on some sunglasses and a hood and like call it a day. Also, crazy time for me to be wearing a Yankees hat when I'm living in LA. It literally was just at the World Series here rooting for the Dodgers, but such is life. I lived in New York whatever the fuck, who cares? I am going to eat my food that just arrived. I also have to pack. I'm going to Miami tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm gonna be there for a week. Anyway, good talk, but love you all. Grateful for you to be here. I have nothing else to say.